On my dad's side, I call my grandpa Tata and I call my grandma Ita. On my mom's side, I call my grandparents Abuelo and Abuela.
I call my grandma Yaya and my grandpa Jetto.
I call my grandma Babushka and I call my grandpa Diadushka.
On my dad's side, I call my grandparents Mimi, and on my mom's side, I call them Grandpa and Nani.
On my dad's side, it is Mom, and on my mom's side, it is Ima, Grandpa, and then it's Pop and Grandma Jojo.
I call my grandparents Tata y Tita.
I call my grandparents 公公婆婆 and 爷爷奶奶。
I call my grandparents 爷爷奶奶、姥爷姥姥。
On my mom's side, I'll call my grandparents Mimi and Mats. And on my dad's side, I'll call my grandparents Sito and Jiddo.
On my mom's side, I call my grandmother Abuela and my grandpa Yeye. And on my dad's side, I call my grandmother Abuela and my grandpa Abuelo.
I call my grandma Amachi and I call my grandpa Apachin.
On my mom's side, I call my grandma Nana. And on my dad's side, I call my grandparents Grandpa and Grandma.
On my mom's side, I call my grandparents Dede and Nene, and on my dad's side, I call them Giddu and Teta.
On my mom's side, I call my grandparents Nani and Babu, and on my dad's side, I call my grandparents Mima and Papa.
Something fun I like to do with my grandparents is watch movies and eat Jamaican food with them.
Something that I'd like to do with my grandmother is cook with her.
Something fun I used to do with my grandparents is go-kart racing.
Something fun I like to do with my grandparents is going shopping and getting ice cream.
Some things I like to do with my grandparents are playing board games like chess and drawing.
Something fun I like to do with my grandparents is cooking together.
Something fun I like to do with my grandma is go to the movies and go shopping with her.
Something fun I like to do with my pop-up is go to lunch with him and my cousin.
Something that I like to do with my grandparents is play mahjong.
I like to watch Family Feud with my grandparents.
Something fun I like to do with my grandma is watch wrestling with her. It's amazing.
My favorite memory with my grandpa is when I went to an air show with him when I was younger with my dad and my sisters.
My favorite memory with my grandparents is spending time with them during Thanksgiving dinner.
My favorite memory with my grandma is when we made pizzas together.
My favorite memory of my grandparents is sitting out on the deck eating family dinners together.
My favorite memory with my grandma is saying, "I love you more" whenever we go somewhere, and whoever says it first wins.
One of my favorite memories was when I was younger and my grandma got me and my brother sandwiches, and I cried because my sandwich broke, so she bought me another one.
My favorite memory is traveling to Africa to meet my grandparents.
So my favorite memory was when I stayed with them and when we did our Bible studies with our family.
My favorite tradition to do with my grandparents is when at Thanksgiving we go around the room and say what we're thankful for.
My favorite tradition with my grandma is when we used to go to Christmas every year at her house.
My favorite tradition that I do with my grandma is that we pray every night together.
My favorite tradition with my grandparents is decorating our house for Christmas.
I love my grandma because she taught me how to pray.
Something my grandparents taught me is to always put my whole heart into everything I do and let God take care of the rest.
Something my grandparents taught me is how to be a good friend.
Something that my grandparents taught me was about God and that school is also very important.
Something my grandparents taught me how to do is read and write.
One thing my grandparents have taught me Hungarian words and about Hungarian foods.
One thing my grandparents taught me is to never give up on my dreams.
Something that my grandparents have taught me is to love the Lord, love others, and love myself.
One thing that my grandparents taught me was to ride a bike.
Something my grandparents taught me is how to save money.
One thing that my grandparents have taught me is that God has plans for my life and bad things might happen, but God can use them for good.